Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Lily Reed. So as you can tell by the title, this is my January wrap up. This is the video where I give you guys a quick synopsis of the books I read in January, my thoughts, and then we move on with it. You know, I go back and forth on if this video is necessary because most of the books that I read, I make videos about, so you could just go look at the thumbnails of those videos and you can see exactly what I read, and then you can see what I gave the reviews. Just watch the videos. But I know everyone doesn't have time to watch the videos, and also sometimes you just want to know, Kenya, would you recommend I buy the book or would you recommend I not? Or sometimes you just want to know what certain books are about, or sometimes you're just nosy and you want to see like everything all together. So I am totally fine with that. So this month I read a total of 17 books, I believe, which is absolutely insane. I kind of thought I was only going to read about 10 books a month this year, and it is only January, but the fact that I got 17 in is absolutely crazy. But I blame it on a lot of things. Number one, in the month of January, I give up coffee, juice, soda, anything that's not water, I give it up. So that has cut out a lot of time for me to do like recreational like drinking, so like coffee in the morning or going out to dinner. It just cut out a lot of that, and so I have a lot more time to focus on other things. Like my life is surrounded by grabbing a little drink, and so I don't have time. It's not that I didn't have time to do that. I wasn't doing those things, so it left me with nothing but time to focus on reading. And that is what I was able to do. So that's how I got 17 books read this month. I think this month was a brilliant reading month. I had so much fun reading this month. And I think that is because most of my videos was a collection of like multiple types of books. Like only one video was just like all one thing, and that was the Megan Miranda video. But all of my other videos, except for like Open Water, because it was just one book, was a collection of different types of books that had different types of vibes. And so I think it just allowed me to be excited to go in each book with the best of intentions. And so I had a really good reading month. If this is how my reading year is going to be, I am good with that. We had some 5 stars, we had some high 4 stars, we had some 3s, and of course we did have some 1s and DNFs, but there is nothing wrong with that. So I decided to put my, book Kayla over at Books and Lala, when she does her wrap-ups, she likes to do like a theme with them. And I think my theme for like all of this year, so it's not going to change every video, but I think I'm just going to tell you them and why is this fucking with me? Ooh, get it out, Kenya. Don't play with it. The order I am most likely to unhaul the book, right? So the first book I show you is the book that like I would unhaul like right away. Like if I had to get rid of a book, I would unhaul it right away. And then the last book is the book like you might have to pry out of my cold dead hands, That's what I do. So order in likely to unhaul is the order, okay? So we are going to immediately get into it. This would be the book now, just because it's in a certain order doesn't mean I liked it less than I liked another book. It's just what it means to me, but I'll describe it when I get to it. The first 5 books I am unhauling. Like they're gone. So, but let's start. So first and foremost, we have Love on the Brain. I read this in my Is Book of the Month. Worth it. So this book follows a girl. She's a scientist. She's a scientist, and basically there's this assignment that she wants to do. She wants to create something, and so she has to work with this other group of scientists. And when she's going to do that, she meets up with a guy that she has known from her past, like they went to school together and all of that. She meets up with him and they have to work together, and that starts their romance, I'm going to assume, because I actually never got to the romance section of this book. This is like an academic rivals to lovers, or a love to hate, whatever you want to say this book is. That's what it can be. It don't even goddamn matter. I am on record saying I thought this book was childish as hell. I thought the main character was childish as hell, and if you see yourself in the main character, I am so happy for you. If you are 30 years old and you act like this, I am so happy for you. I'm sure you are great to be around. Do I want to be around you? No. But I'm sure you are absolutely lovely to be around and you have your audience. But it's not for me. I don't think 30-year-olds should act like this, and you can stone me for it. You can stone me for it, but I thought this book was childish and I DNF'd it. I did not enjoy a single thing about it. The internal dialogue of this character absolutely blew me. I'm just like, what is this? This is not funny. It's not witty. It's not clever. It's not interesting. And so, oh, and also our like hero of the book, our love interest of the book, he is just like a stock image of any guy, like there's nothing great about him. There's nothing different about him. It's just like insert attractive guy. And so it just wasn't for me. I don't know why I'm spending so much time on a book I did not even fully finish, but it's a DNF and it's the book I am most likely to unhaul. The next book that we have is Lucy Foley, The Paris Apartment. This book follows a woman who is going off to Paris to go live with her brother. Her and her brother have been estranged for a while, but she has found herself in a predicament and she needs some place to stay. And she decides to go stay with her brother. But when she gets to Paris, she realizes that her brother is missing. And she starts to think that is strange because she doesn't understand why her brother would let her live with him, but not be there. And so she sets out on this journey to figure out where is her brother, what happened to him, and what's going on in this apartment. The vibes in the apartment seem really, really creepy. This book, also a DNF. This book is absolutely boring. This book is absolutely boring. I'm nosy as hell, so I am still curious about what happened to the brother, but I'm sure all I have to do is watch a spoiler review and someone will tell me what happened to the brother. It just wasn't necessary to read all of this book, and so I did not do it. Boring. Every character in this boring. The mystery boring. What's going on is boring. Absolutely no, not for me. DNF. The next book I am most likely to get rid of is The Girl from Widow Hills. So this book follows a girl who is like infamous. She's like infamous. She was sleepwalking one night and this storm came through her town when she was a child and she got sucked into the storm drain and she had to survive in the storm drain for days, but eventually they did find her and she was alive, and now everyone is just like captivated by her. She's a grown woman now, but people still care about her. Like, you're the girl who survived in a storm drain. So she gets the news that her mother is dead, and this like opens up old wounds, stuff that happened back when she was a child and everything that happened with the storm drain. Well, one day she is sleepwalking, so she is told, and she stumbles upon a dead body, and her neighbor comes over and is like, girl, did you do this dead body? Like, what's going on? And this starts an investigation into her life and what has been going on with her since she has left her old town and all of that. This book sucks. I want to say something nice because I'm choking. So maybe like that's the God saying like, can you be nice? But I'm choking. No, no, I don't have anything positive to say about this book. It's really boring. The characters are really bad. The whodunit you see from a mile away. You're never convinced that one thing is actually happening. So the like plot twist is so easy because it's like, I never actually thought the first thing you wanted me to believe this whole time was actually true. So like, duh. And yeah, it was just a really bad mystery book. It was a really bad mystery book. It wasn't interesting. The characters wasn't good. The setting wasn't good. No. And the biggest thing about this book that I think I hit on in the video is that I find it hard to believe that 20, 30 years later, people still care about this girl who was in a storm drain. So, and that's a big part of the book. So many people caring about this girl in the storm drain. The next book I am most likely to unhaul and am unhauling. This is The Last House Guest by Meg Miranda. I still don't know why this book is called The Last House Guest, but that's beyond me. So basically you are following this girl who is friends with this affluent family. There's this family that comes to visit her like beach town every single summer, and she has become friends with this family. But a few summers ago, her best friend in that family, the girl of that family, she died. She committed, she unalived herself. And so there has been a lot of mystery around it, but our main character found some new evidence that might have her to believe that everything that happened that summer might not be what meets the eye, and there might have been something deeper and darker that happened to her friend. And also there's some questions around this family, why they took her in, because that's what's happened with her. She's become so close to this family. They have taken her in, they have given her a job, they have helped her out. And so there's just a lot of mystery surrounding her friend's death, this family, and also both of her parents are dead as well. Our main character, both of her parents are dead as well. So there's just a lot of things happening in this town, and you're trying to uncover what all of those things are. Ooh, this book doesn't work for me. Ooh, this book doesn't work for me in so many ways. Our main character is just really, really inconsistent. We're constantly told things about the main character, and it just feels inconsistent. It feels like we're just getting told those things to create a story, and not because the character is just a really complex and interesting character. And so that just didn't really sit with me. The friend being dead, we're getting told things about the friend too that just don't all seem to ring true either. It's just like, I don't really care. The family doesn't make much sense. The rich family and their connection to her doesn't make a lot of sense. And it just seems like if there was a half good detective in this town, all of this could have been solved years ago. So also going to be an unhaul. The next book that I'm going to be unhauling is You're Invited. So this book is about a Sri Lankan wedding where this girl has been invited to her friend's wedding. They used to be best friends. They're not best friends anymore, but she's been invited to the wedding and she's like, I should show up. The only thing is her best friend is actually marrying her ex-boyfriend. So there's a lot of tension in the air, but she's going to go because she doesn't want her best friend to marry her boyfriend for reasons. We don't know that reason except for like the obvious, but like she seems a little bit more than just like peeves that this girl with her man. It seems to be a little bit deeper. Well, at the wedding, the bride goes missing and she is presumed dead. So in this book, we are trying to figure out what happened to the bride, why this girl don't like her ex-boyfriend so much, and what's going on in this story that has caused these two girls to fall out. This book was interesting enough. I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. Interesting enough, but at the end of the day, I just didn't think it all came together for a good story. I found myself not caring about, we get different POVs of a lot of people, and I didn't care about everyone's POV. I didn't care about how everyone came into the story. This is one of those stories where like everyone is messy, everyone is conniving, and you're supposed to be so invested and see like, so who's the person who did it? But I just didn't find them interesting. I didn't feel like it all worked up to a big climax that it needed to for me to be like, whoa. I just wasn't blown away by it. So I will be unhauling this book, but I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. The next book that I would be most likely to unhaul is For Your Own Good. This is about a teacher who likes to fuck with his students. He feels like his students are entitled little brats and he needs to humble them. And by humbling them, he basically tries to like plot on their demise. He tries to make sure like they don't ever become anything in their life because he didn't come from anything and he feels like no one took it easy on him, so he doesn't want to take it easy on them. Well, at this school, people start dropping dead and they're like, something weird is afoot. We know what's weird is afoot because this book is told in third person omniscient. We know what everybody is goddamn doing, what everyone is goddamn thinking, but the people in this book do not know. So we have all these characters in this book and we're trying to figure out what's going on at this school that's causing people to drop dead, and are the people responsible going to be taken to task? This book tries to play on that like fun angle, like that fun dark academia, fun thriller mystery thing that I just don't enjoy. This book gets a 3 out of 5 because it's not for me. I don't think this is a bad book. I don't think this is a poorly written book. It's just not for me. I don't like little fun thrillery books, and Samantha Downing seems to like to do that. It's not for me. The main character was insufferable for me. I couldn't like really get it. I didn't like being in his head. I didn't find anything. There wasn't any charisma there that I think needs to be there for a book to pull what this book is trying to pull off. So 3 out of 5 stars. I just found it kind of bleh. The next book I am most unlikely to unhaul, I've never talked about it on my channel except in passing in the book of the month video, Killers of a Certain Age. So this book is about a group of old serial killers. They're old serial killers. They took these jobs back when they were younger to like take out people who are responsible. So like Nazis, Confederate soldiers, think stuff like that. They are basically tasked to take out people who have inflicted trauma onto other people who have done bad things in this world. Well, one day they are doing an assignment and they're like, okay, we about to, do one last assignment because they're getting old. And then they realize the assignment is actually to take them out. Other people have been hired to kill those serial killers. So they are on the run. They are on the run and they are trying to figure out why this organization who they've been working with for so long would want to take them out. And boom, that's Killers of a Certain Age, them trying to get out of this. The thing that this book is lacking, I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. To me, the thing that this book is lacking is stakes. To me, this book has absolutely no stakes. It's really hard to be attached to the characters. You just don't have any emotional investment in any of these characters. So you're being told a perfectly good story, but for this book to be like 4 or 5 stars, you need there to be stakes. You need to not want anything to happen to these old ladies, and you just simply don't care. You hear things about them and you hear about their family and how they got to the situation, but you just simply don't care. I am not the strongest writer in the world, so I don't know what to do to give the books the stakes that it needs, but it just doesn't fully hit where it needs to hit. So I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I am going to keep it. It was perfectly good enough, but it could have been better. I was expecting to be wowed. The next book that I would be most likely to unhaul is Breathless. This is a book that I think in a few years I would want to return to, but it just didn't work for me at this stage in my life. So we have this journalist. She wants to do a story on this guy who climbs mountain. He climbs the tallest mountain peaks in the world without oxygen, without rope, all that. So she wants to do a story on him. This is a big news, like, getting a story on this guy is a big deal. And so she wants to get the story because she wants to prove to her family that she is a real journalist and she can make a career out of this. So she wants to do the story. But the guy tells her in order to do the story on him, she has to climb the mountain too. So she's like, okay, because in her past, she's climbed mountains. So she's like, of course I'll climb the mountain. You know, she goes back and forth. Her family says she shouldn't do it, but she's like, I am going to climb this mountain. Well, as she's climbing this mountain, strange things are afoot. People keep dying mysteriously. There's money going missing. People are dying. It's just a bunch of chaos up on this mountain. And of course, they're still climbing a really tall mountain. So there's risk of like oxygen, all of that, you know, just a lot of stuff going on. This book was chaos. This book was chaos top to bottom. I believe that it's really easy to guess who is doing all the stuff that's being done. And so I knew my rating on this book would be decided by if I felt like the reason why the person was doing it was good. And so the person who I expect to be doing it was doing it. And the reason why they were doing it just wasn't that good. I thought the ending was clunky. I thought it was goofy. And so I gave this book a 2 out of 5 stars. If I'm being nice, I would give it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. But it's this low on the pile of likely to unhaul because I love the cover for some reason. Even though I usually hate blue covers, I love this cover. And I think if I return to this book, I might find some things about it that I like. It's a book that I think I would actually reread to see if I missed any like subtle nuances. The next book that we have is The Fortunes of Jaded Women. So there was this woman who had a son, and her son was left by his wife while his wife was pregnant, and the wife got pregnant by another man, and she was pregnant with the son. In this culture, having a son is like the best thing that you can have. So she goes off to this person who does like, who casts like hexes on people, you know, and she's like, I want their bloodline. So the wife of her son, I want their bloodline to never be able to have sons. So she's like, sure, we'll do it. And so they basically put this like, you know, hex on this family, and they're not allowed to have, they can't have sons. Well, generations down the line, we meet back up with this family who has a curse on them. And we see that they've only had girls. So it's this family with a group of girls, and basically they're all kind of estranged. They all have beef with each other. But the mom of this family decides that she is going to go to a fortune teller who can get her family back on track, to get her to one of her daughters to finally have sons, to get them to make good marriage choices. And so the fortune teller tells her, I can do all this, but you guys have to make amends. So they set out on this journey to all make amends with each other. I give this book 3 out of 5 stars. This book has so many characters. There's so many characters, and they're just not all that interesting. Like, you feel like you're going to get told one story about this family trying to break a curse, but it's really just this family drama about this messy ass family and all of their problems. It just wasn't as interesting as it could be. The characters get really confusing, and so you stop being really interested in what's going on with any of them because they all start to blend together. So you're being told a perfectly nice story, but you're not really invested in it. So it's 3 out of 5. Another book that I think I would return to in the future, so that's why it's a little bit lower, but didn't impress me. The next book that we have is The Unwanted Guest. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. If you watched my last video, you know that. But this book is about a group of people who all go to a hotel to like get away for vacation. You have different characters all coming together, but quickly people begin to die. The power goes out, there's no cell phones, and people start dying. And we spend this book trying to figure out who is doing it. I really enjoyed this book. This book is really quick. It's fast paced. I love being in everyone's mind. I love when we started to figure out like multiple people are going to die in this book. I just thought it was really interesting, and I thought there were such good characters. I'm hit or miss on books like this, but this worked for me, you know? So I give it 4 out of 5 stars. You see how I'm trying to get through these quick? Like, whoa. We have so many good books. The Only Black Girl in Town. This is a middle grade book about 2 black girls who live in this white town. This girl has been there longer. She's lived there her whole life. But then next door to her, another black girl moves in, and so they start to become best friends. And basically they're dealing with all the trials and tribulations that happen in being the only black girls in this town. They get closer and all the stuff they're going through. That's what this book is about. 2 black girls who live in this town. But there's also a storyline about these girls finding old journals from this woman, and they're trying to figure out who this woman is and what was going on in these journals. So they're also on this like historical like mission to try to like figure out what's going on with these old journals that they found. To me, that is the weakest storyline of this book, and why I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I really love the stuff going on with the girls in their town and trying to navigate being black girls in an all-white town, but I didn't like the stuff about the journals. I thought the stuff about the journals was rather boring, and it just didn't have the complexity. I know it's middle grade, but it wasn't interesting. Even for middle grade, I'm like, this could have been done with more heart, and I just didn't feel it. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, which is so shocking, but I found myself really bored when it came to the journals. I just didn't really care about that storyline. That storyline closer to the end like takes over the whole book. But the stuff about the family, like the family drama, the friendship drama, the school drama, I thought was excellent. That was 5 out of 5. It was this other storyline I really didn't like that was just really bringing down that. But it's a book about little black girls. It's middle grade, and it's by a black author, so of course I'm going to keep it. The next book we have is The Last to Vanish. This book is about a town where people go missing. Over the years, people have gone on hikes and have never returned, and their bodies are never found. So this girl works at this place where people go, this lodge basically, and people constantly ask her about the people who have gone missing, but she doesn't live in the town. She hasn't lived in the town long enough to know anything about it, and she always felt like people were keeping secrets from her, but she's kind of been initiated into the town. People like her in the town, so she doesn't ask too many questions. But soon, someone who has gone missing, their brother has come back, and that has ignited this like search for truth in her to try to figure out, why are these people going missing? And this town is weird. What's going on? I really like this book. I gave 2 Megan Miranda books 1 star, but this I give 4 stars, baby. I thought this was a great mystery. It had enough plot twists. The characters were compelling. I liked the small town. I felt like I was in the vibe. I was there the entire way. This book thoroughly impressed me, so much so I want my own copy of this book. This is the library version. I want my own copy. I really enjoyed this book, and I think it's a mystery I could see myself returning to. I really liked it. If you want a mystery that's just like, you know, it's slow 100%, so if you want something quicker, go to The Unwanted Guest. But if you just want a slow mystery where you just get information about people and before you know it, a story has come together, The Last to Vanish. The next book that I have is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. This book is about 2 video game creators and their relationship with one another. You basically are following their relationship throughout being kids up until like they are like 30 years old, and basically everything that has happened in their life, the people they've met along the way, the ups and the downs. 2 video game creators, the story about their friendship in creating video games together. That's what this book is about. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I was expecting to be blown away by this book, and I simply just wasn't. There were things about this book is a strong book. That's why I give it 4 out of 5 stars, but I was just expecting to give this book 5 stars with room. And the story is perfectly interesting, and it's written perfectly well, and our 2 main characters are really, really good. It's everything else I don't find interesting. I thought the main character's boyfriend stayed in the book too long. He wasn't a really interesting character, wasn't written well for me. And the big part that didn't work for me was the best friend of the best friends. I thought he was such a weak character. And the book tries to explain why he's so weak, but it doesn't. It seemed more of a cop-out for bad writing. It seemed more of a cop-out for a character that's not fully actualized. And he becomes a huge part of the story. And we're really supposed to be affected by things that happen to him. And I'm just like, he's not a good character. I don't feel anything. So the beats of this book that are supposed to blow me away simply just don't. So I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I really love the cover. I think it's a book that I will return to, in my life. So of course I'll be keeping it. But it didn't hit the way it was supposed to hit. But still a good book. The next book that we have is The Lifestyle. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I thought on it, and I've still given this book 5 out of 5 stars. So this is about a woman who, she has everything that she wants career-wise. She's like the good friend, everything's on the right path. But, she constantly questions things in her life. Like, do I really like being with my husband? But she's like, yeah, I do. She's just like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, one day she decides she wants to spice up her sex life with her husband. And so she decides to surprise him at work for them to have sex at his work, and sees that he is having sex with somebody else at work, and it is a woman that she works with too, because they work at the same place, just in different divisions. They're both lawyers, just different types of lawyer. He is having sex with one of the people she's supposed to be mentoring at the job. And so she's like, oh, we're not going to work. So she's like, I'm done with you. But he doesn't want to be done with her. And so she's like, wait a minute. My friend was telling me about how being a swinger has absolutely changed her marriage. Maybe we should see what that is about. And this is about a girl who embarks on the journey with her husband to become swingers. I thought this book was so much fun. I thought this book was just a really good time. I thought this book dealt with topics that a lot of people don't talk about. And I'm a chick lit girl. I'm a marriage story girl. I just love stuff about people's marriages. I just loved it. I really, really did. I had a really fun time with this book. This book has a really low Goodreads rating, but if you're interested in my synopsis, I think you should check it out. Don't be detoured by the Goodreads rating. The next book I'm about to show you has a low Goodreads rating too, but I think they're brilliant. 5 out of 5 stars. That's my sister right there. The next thing we have is When We Were Bright and Beautiful. This book is about a guy who is he's accused of SA by his girlfriend. And basically this is a story about the sister trying to deal with her brother being accused of SA and what that means with her family, and also trying to deal with the trauma that she has been through in her life. I give this book 5 out of 5 stars with room. That is a terrible synopsis. Go watch my book of the month video to get a better one. I thought this book was absolutely brilliant. I thought this book had so much nuance. I think this book has so much nuance. That's why the Goodreads rating is low. I think people wanted this book to turn out a certain way, but I think if you read the book, you know how this book is going to turn out, and that's what the beauty of it is. I thought it touched on good topics. I thought it introduced characters that we usually don't see in books, and I think the decision to have certain characters end up the way they end up, say the things that they say, allow for us to get a story that hasn't really been told before. I thought this book was absolutely brilliant. So far, it's my favorite book of the year. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I have a whole vlog dedicated to it. It is Open Water. This is a book about two best friends who become lovers and all the things they go through coming up in London. It really pretty much is following the guy. The guy is telling the entire story and everything that he goes through. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. It's a little too flowery for me to just gush over it, but I love a best friends to lover story. I love the stuff about being a black man and black manhood and growing up and all the things that you deal with being a black man. I really did like that stuff in the book. It's just not fully, my gig when it comes to taste, but I thought it was beautifully written. I thought it was a really good love story. The ending is not my favorite. The star really gets lost in this because I don't love the ending. But other than that, I enjoyed it. Okay, so the last book we have is the Lily Reads Book Club book for January, and it is Whiteout. This is the book I am least likely to unhaul because it's a book club pick. Obviously, I would never unhaul any of my book club picks right there, up there, and I I loved it. I give this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is a book written by 6 young adult authors, and basically they come together to tell this story about an Atlanta snowstorm and everyone's love story and what everyone is doing during this Atlanta snowstorm. It's like a different love stories told in like different chapters. I love this book. This book is dedicated in its own dedication to like Black kids, and that's what I think it is. What I really loved about this book is the concept of this book. This book is told as if like Atlanta is like a snow globe where everyone knows each other, everyone is affected by what everything does, and I thought it was really, really brilliant. The way all these people are connected to each other and how all these people care about each other. At first it can seem a little fickle, but I think if you embrace this book as a concept book, I thought it was really, really good. The people in my book club, this wasn't their gig, and that's fine. That's fine. I can stand alone. I thought this book was really good. I give this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. Those are all the books that I read this month. Yeah, it was a good reading month. There's only like 4 books out of 17 that I'm just like, yeah. But the rest, I really, really like. So anyways, that is the end of this one. If you want to see more of me, hit me up on Patreon, which is As Told by Kenya, or go over to my main channel, which is As Told by Kenya, or just stay here. Anyways, I love you guys so much.